For Panthers Fans Only is a sports podcast intended for mature audiences and contains profanity as well as extremely spirited conversation. What you see and hear are the sole opinions and depictions of each individual, not at all inclusive of the entire cast or any guests associated with our show. Thanks for tuning in, and always remember to stand on business.
You need to use this as practice anyway. Because when we go on road, I don't need you choking up. I don't need you being nervous and shit like that.
Why would I be doing that?
Who want smoke with me?
I don't know.
Smoke with me.
Them lights get on them.
Then people just be talking, saying whatever.
Who want smoke with me? Who want smoke with me? Nigga, who want smoke with me? Who want smoke with me? I'm tryna fuck a nigga lungs up. They be like, Nalo, put them damn guns up. Fuck that. Say big brother, bring them guns out. When it's smoke, we get the spinning while the sun out.
Welcome to FPFO.
I ain't never lacking, I pump gas with my gun out. Scream out what's happening to get the bus until it run out. All these niggas high like it ain't no fun out.
Nardo's one of those few new age artists that I really fuck with.
He don't be dropping though.
You don't.
Kick your dope, get on the
Makes
floor.
it better.
5, 6, 7, 8. Don't make no noise, I eat your face.
then
9,
I'll put
10,
you on the
11,
shelf
we ain't gon'
after
say that, then we won't fuck with Jay.
Check. I don't know if the levels are right or not.
Niggas play. I think my Draco might be gay.
Post-prod.
Cause he blow
Welcome.
Got a brand new lolly.
Can't everybody
As a
drop
folk
back to
nigga.
back?
Call me Nalo, yes man.
Man, he ain't dropped
I
that
don't know
in
niggas.
years.
You can send your best man. You gon' lose your best hitter. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
You want to press a button, bro? We got the whole soundboard lit now.
I know what button I'ma press when it's needed.
That
one right
I know they trolling me. Outside with y'all big homie be on, I keep the folks with me. Got it back in blood, y'all just don't know that's how it supposed to be. Call them features just to kill him, cause we know he's sweet. Who the fuck is that?
Welcome. Quick episode today. My manager let me know that when I say that, we typically be going 215, 220. Not tonight. Not tonight.
So why did you say those
tonight.
words?
What?
Quick episode.
We need to get in and
I
out.
thought he said when you say that we be going for 215.
Yeah, but tonight I'm gonna make a conscious effort not to allow that. Trust me? Have I let you a straight ever?
Yes.
Would you like to tell the people what?
Been too many occasions.
See, them niggas just get on their platform and get the
When you
line.
start talking about it, it's gonna be a 3-hour episode.
Talking like you did a drill. We gon' kill you sober. Who done told you that I need a pill?
Real deal stepper, put my toe on that boy. You Mickey Mouse, bitch, you went and told on that boy. All my guns come with a switch.
We are going to be doing a giveaway live right now. Then only a couple of things to talk about today. It's the off season, so y'all know how it gets. Just be patient. No complaints. Just tune in or don't.
And I'll be making sure to watch the giveaway because I remember last time he gave it to one of his folks.
5, 6, 7, 8
Who did I
bitches that got hit with this K.
Who?
9,
Just
10,
happened to be
11, 12 don't
a
got
single
L, they
woman.
got to chase. 13, 14, 15, 16,
No, the people
hollow
thought you
tips, they
cheated.
hit his face.
I think that was more than one time, actually.
I think
What the fuck
I believe,
is that?
I do think it happened twice.
Yeah, I think it was more than
I
one
believe it
time.
happened twice.
Hit that little
Yeah, because there was one that got the tickets to the suite, to the New Orleans game, to the suite. And they swore up and down that it was because of that. And I was just like, bro, I don't even know this lady. Like, I can't help how the button, like when I press the button.
Yeah, that's why I'll be watching today.
So we do have our rookie jersey giveaway. You can watch. I'll let you watch every time. Do I not?
No, I don't think I seen that one where you you know.
You just lie bad, bro. So we have our rookie jersey giveaway. Like I said, if you posted the screenshot on X or sent it to us on Instagram, I made sure to give everybody their additional 5 entries. I gave everybody that posted the screenshots their additional 5 entries. Bloody, I gave you your additional 5 entries from the live draft stream. So everybody got their additional entries. Nobody worry about that. Everybody just stay cool, just stay chill. You want to watch?
Yeah.
Actually, I'll let you do it. You know, don't mess nothing up, bro. Don't mess nothing up, bro. Don't mess nothing up. Careful.
I just click this.
Yeah, I think so. You know it'd be a delay every time.
And the winner is, I don't know who this person is, by the way. And the winner is Josh Howie.
Round of applause for Josh Howie, winner of our rookie jersey giveaway. How many hours does he have? 72. 72 from the release of the episode.
Yeah.
72 hours from
48.
48?
48.
I think 48.
72 is way too long. Because then that just means you're not tapped in.
Okay, fair enough. So 48 hours. Josh Howie, again, the winner of our rookie jersey giveaway. Shout out to him.
Josh.
Yeah, shout out to you tapping in with the show, being connected on Instagram, knowing what's going on. Shout out to you. We're going to contact you via social media. You have 48 hours from 9 a.m. on Tuesday, May 5th. No, May 6th. Excuse me. Because today is Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Jesus.
But yeah, so 48 hours from 9 a.m. Josh Howie, shout out to you again. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you participating. I will say, since we're in the mood of giveaways and things of that nature, I will say entries were very, very low this year compared to last year. I don't know why, but that's no problem at all. It doesn't bother me at all. For the Arizona trip, if you're not familiar with what we have going on and you're new to the show, we run giveaways pretty much year round. That's the first thing that I'll say. So if you go to ForPanthersFansOnly.com right now, you'll be able to see everything that we have going on, all the giveaways, etc. We have a giveaway going on right now, the FPFO Road Game Experience. 2 free tickets to the game, 2 flights, and a hotel stay for you and a person of your choosing for free, completely paid for by FPFO. All you have to do is go on ForPanthersFansOnly.com right now, follow the steps, enter the giveaway. I need to see that at least at a band, 1,000 entries.
Yeah,
I think that's reasonable.
I just don't understand why people wouldn't want to enter into that. Yeah. It's a free trip. It's literally a free trip.
And you don't have to worry about anything. And if you're worried about scheduling conflicts or whatever the case may be, we will know a date. Wednesday, May 14th, the NFL has announced that they will be announcing the NFL schedule release, or that is going to be NFL schedule release day. So May 14th, we'll know an official date. So off of that, if you enter and you already have up to this point, we appreciate it. Now, when May 14th comes around and they drop that schedule, and if you know that you can't go, don't enter. That's a very basic request, right? Is that not a basic request?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, that's reasonable?
Yeah.
Must be 21 years or older to enter. We can't babysit. We have no insurance on it. If you go out there and something happens.
Maybe you get stained.
Yeah, we are not responsible. The only thing that we're responsible for is getting you there, getting you a hotel room so you can lay your head down, getting you in the game, and getting you back to your state or your city, whatever the case may be.
No food will be covered. No drinks will be covered. But I'm not going to say that because if you catch me at the game when I have a few in me.
Yeah, we're going to,
my cars start getting a little jumpy out my head.
Yeah, we'll be a little generous as it pertains to the drinks. I'll speak for myself. Y'all are definitely going to get at least 3 or 4 rounds out of me for the entire weekend. Bare minimum. And when I get to the game, and like they said, if you're a single woman, only God knows how my car get acting. I'm not going to lie. My track record, unfortunately, is not the best with that. I've been very vocal about that on this podcast. So I'm not here to lie to y'all. But Yeah, so like I said, must be 21 years or older to enter. Once that schedule releases, I'm sure there'll be a couple of people that see this episode after schedule release day. If the day releases, the game releases, and you can't attend, do not enter, because this giveaway is a lot more tedious than the other ones that we do. A lot more tedious, a lot more things have to go into it as far as the winner claiming their prize, us paying for the room and getting the flights. So if you can't enter, long story short, if you can't attend, don't enter. It's very simple. I don't need to go on any longer of a rant than that. I feel like that's very, very self-explanatory, and you have to be 21 years or older. I know we have a lot of young viewers. Shout out to y'all.
And my folks continue to enter.
Terrence will not be able to win. Will not be able to benefit from.
Cannot be your plus one.
Terrence Southern cannot be your plus one.
As many entries as possible. You know, I only want one winner in particular. But I mean,
would you?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. Cool.
Man, that got shut down so fast.
It did. I couldn't even. Hey. And while we're here, and since he pressed that drop, Unc did everything they say he did. Unc did it all.
Yeah,
Unc did it all.
He might be cooked. I'm not gonna lie.
Actually, I don't know, man. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Who knows? But it just has looked very, very nasty.
Very bad look. And one of them that came out and made some accusations
Michelle.
against him. With the red hair, chick. I just, what were we doing?
I don't know if I seen her.
You ain't seen Michelle? Yeah. You ain't seen Michelle?
Was she on the live? Was that the person?
Oh, my Michelle. That one?
Yeah.
You ain't see her?
No, I don't think that was the same.
I
think the same Michelle?
I think they
Nigga,
said
that's the only Michelle that done came out.
But I think they said that wasn't her, though. Because I think the Michelle you talking about, he used to be in a relationship with her a long time ago, right?
Yes.
Which one?
The one, the redhead.
This one. This is the one that I'm talking about right here.
The older one.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I just personally would never, ever go outside behind one that's like this. Yeah. That's just me.
It's no way, bro.
That's just. Yeah. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you what the folks say. What the article says.
It's no way that's her.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. Yeah. I mean, he said, "Oh, my Michelle."
There's no way that's her, bro. I just refuse to believe that.
Well, I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you. That's what we were told.
So he went from, because the new girl.
Yeah, the 26-year-old or whatever she is.
No, not 26. She's not 26.
She's 24.
She's like 19 or 20.
Oh yeah, she is young.
Yeah, she's like 19 or 20. Allegedly,
but there's no way he went from that to that. So his game jumped that far. His game went up crazy like that.
Did the bag go up crazy?
The bag went up crazy.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, but he always had NFL money.
But NFL money in the 90s, early 2000s, that shit ain't hitting.
Even NFL money in the 90s and early 2000s can get you better than that. Just off the status alone that you in the NFL.
I mean, that's fair.
So, I mean, I don't understand.
Or he just likes, or that's just his type.
It could be.
Who am I to judge?
It could be. They don't warn him against it, too. Every Cat warned him. What's her name? Monique warned him.
Auntie Monique.
I mean, I feel like Chad even warned him.
Yeah, but he can barely say something himself because he be...
What?
He bad off, too.
Is he, though?
But not really. That was his wife.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
And she stained him. And she was a part of the company. That's bad news. That's why I always say.
You know what?
What do I always say?
Yeah, but they never got married, though.
But didn't Shannon go behind his back and sign her, too?
Yeah.
After?
Yeah, I'm not going to.
He did it.
I'm not going to lie.
Allegedly, that was fake, though. Allegedly, they had already agreed upon, like, bringing her on, having her own, like, little segment.
But can I just say something? As soon as me and my shorty fall out, all of that contractual shit we were talking prior is dead right now.
Yeah, but I don't know if stuff has already came out, like episodes and stuff have already been released. I don't know if you can just get that thrown out like that. It would kind of be hard
unless
to make
she signed if the contract was already signed, then
yeah, because she already has
the ink won't dry.
She already has episodes and stuff released based on their platform.
So she has her own show. That's what the deal was.
Yeah, something along those lines. She has her own show and stuff.
Yeah,
I might be trying to shadow ban the show on my own channel then.
Or I mean, if it's me, I'm just not putting it out. It's just very simple.
Or play music that gets copyrighted every episode.
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't really. Just depending on the sponsorships and everything that you have, that doesn't really matter. It's
a nasty business deal, being at the fact that they weren't married, I would say. Because now it's really a little dicey.
Yeah, that just will never go on at the network. Unfortunately. Speaking of the network, actually, since we're here, if you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening elsewhere on any other DSP, which you can find us at For Panthers Fans Only on all DSPs. But if you're not familiar with the YouTube channel, you can go to YouTube right now at the G2S Network. Go subscribe, go like, go comment, go run it up. Connect with us on For Panthers Fans Only or at For Panthers Fans Only on Instagram, TikTok, etc. All social media except X. On X, find us at FPFO_podcast and visit us at our home base for PanthersFansOnly.com. You can find all of that with everything that I just told y'all right that second.
What is this, bro?
I mean, yeah, that's a lot. Dylan, that's a lot, buddy. That's a lot. You've been. I mean, boy, did you do your big one? You've been doing your big one. That's what they say.
He is on the tear.
Yeah,
generational run.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah, he is. Unfortunately. What else? Any other housekeeping items? No, I think we covered everything. Gentlemen, would y'all like to introduce yourself? I'm JJ for those of y'all that don't know. I'm JJ, the host.
I'm Terrence, co-host.
I'm Tavian, the producer.
And we have a special guest watching us live today. Hello.
Yep.
How are you?
The lovely Sigrid York in the building here. For those of y'all that don't know, this is my mother. She is here. You want to come out here and say hello? Or she's a little camera shy, so
okay.
She's going to stay in the background.
Fair enough.
But
she vibing.
You know, in honor of Mother's Day coming up, shout out to all the moms out there.
Yeah.
I have mine in the building. Sure. First time checking out the new place.
There we go.
And first time watching the
podcast, yes.
So if we tone it down a little bit today, y'all know why.
Yeah, we're going to do our best. I don't really have anything that's going to trigger me today. Luckily for you, I don't have anything that's going to trigger me unless your son decides to piss me off, which sometimes he does that. Sometimes he does that while we're recording, and he does it intentionally. Right, yes, he does it intentionally. But other than that, we should be good to go. How's everybody doing? Did we talk about y'all getting clipped already? We talked about that last week, right? In the championship?
Yeah.
Okay.
And kickball.
Oh, yeah.
What else happened? There was something else that happened.
Short-term memory when it comes to that.
I mean, as you should.
I mean, we lost both games last week anyway.
Yeah.
Y'all started a new season already?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all got clipped already?
Already. It was fast.
Yeah.
Fast.
0-2.
That first team jumped out hot on us. They had
y'all need a better team.
They kept it hot with us, I'm not going to lie.
I missed the first game.
Y'all need a better team. Why y'all still on? Y'all playing on the same team that y'all just choked at? When they folded and dipped out of state and everybody's sick and injured and shit like that?
That was nasty work. I'm not going to lie. We have to be better. The best ability is availability, and unfortunately, we just never have everybody there. So
and you playing through a pinched nerve, and
it's showing out there too.
I was about to say you can tell
it's showing out there.
His production don't went down.
Yeah, we done switch places.
Yeah, my production has went down.
So you're the problem.
No, God, no. It ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. It ain't that bad.
Fair enough. What else? Oh, Steph Curry.
Oh. Well, almost.
Actually, never mind. Congratulations to the Golden State Warriors for advancing.
Oh my God.
Because this is not a basketball podcast.
Can bro not hurt his hand? I mean, damn.
He's a mark.
I mean, have you not seen it? It's his thumb on his shooting hand.
Oh, but that shit was just magically healed miraculously in the fourth quarter when he put up fucking 17 points and he couldn't score a singular point in the first half. And I'm supposed to be okay with that, right? With my money on the line, yes or no?
Get hot at some point.
Yeah, see. But
he's
can
okay
I just
with
tell
his
you,
money being fucked off?
Yeah, and can I just tell you, like, God forbid if LeBron would have did some shit like that, score 0 points in the first like 3 quarters. I mean, they would have did everything but hung him from across. Simple. But it's okay because it's Steph Curry, and we all love Steph. So,
His son couldn't even look at him in his face.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. He had no choice. He had no choice but to win Game 7 the way his son did him after Game 6.
He looked at him in disgust.
And then put his face in the chair. I said, "Oh my God, yeah." In that moment, I thought he was going for 50 Game 7, but I guess that's too much to ask. Shout out Buddy Hield for carrying niggas. What's new? What's new? But anyways, I digress.
But he's like that.
No, he's not, bro.
He's okay. He played a great part in their success earlier in the year, and then he started playing bad, and then they started losing, and then they went and got Jordan's son. So, the rest was history after that. Simple. Where do y'all want to go? Let me pull up this note. Let's see. We don't have actually we do. So last Sunday, we told y'all that we recorded a day early last week. Last episode we recorded on Sunday instead of Monday. And of course, literally, I would say probably an hour and 15 minutes after we finished recording.
I don't even think it was that long. I think it was
may
like
have not been
30 minutes.
I was like literally just up the road.
Yeah.
Like maybe had just taken the first exit. Hunter Renfrow is signed to the Carolina Panthers last week. So we're going to touch on that a little bit, give our thoughts and opinions. I'll kick us off, and then obviously we'll just have an open dialogue. This room is exceptionally deep. I don't think I've seen a wide receiver room go from what it was last year to what it is currently in such a short amount of time. Like, there are weapons. And so when we had a conversation, right, and this is not to dogpile on Bryce or anything like that, but I think Tavian said something about it. Actually, I don't know. This may have been a live stream with Duncan Lowe when we started talking about Bryce Young and his expectations or whatever the case may be. The first thing that I'm going to say is there's just simply no excuses at all this year. There's no excuses at all this year. And I already told y'all 2 weeks ago that I will not be shitting on Bryce Young any longer. So I won't be doing that. But I promise you I'm going to leave it to my co-host and my producer to do it if things don't go properly. And if they can't do it, I'm going to have to, unfortunately, renege on my word because there's just simply no excuses at all. That's the first thing that I'll say. Second thing I'll say, great signing from the Carolina Panthers. Everybody wants to talk about he hasn't played football, he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. When you go out and you go sign a nigga that hasn't played football since he was in the 7th grade and absolutely has no film, stats, or anything like that past that point in the tight end, what is his name? Granger, whatever.
It's not even worth.
It's not even worth. You're absolutely right. It's not mentioning. But when you do something like that, I expect you to go get a Hunter Renfrow if he's available and his agent calls you and says, we're looking for an opportunity and we would love to come home. So another phenomenal move by Dan Morgan and makes this room even deeper. And we're going to touch on that and dive into that a little bit more because last year, while I was at training camp, I was telling y'all the whole time that we had to keep 6 receivers just based on training camp and what I was seeing. And just the production that we were getting from TMJ at the beginning and then Mingo towards the end. And then the Carolina Panthers decided to only keep 5. This year, unfortunately, you can't do that. We may be having a conversation about keeping 7. But we'll talk about it. How do you feel about Hunter Renfrow?
Yeah, I love the signing. I mean, obviously, I'm basing that off of what I seen him do when he was playing. If you just go turn on the film, exceptional route running. He makes a lot of y'all's favorite DBs look silly. Very reliable. He played great in Las Vegas, even though they didn't really have that much. But he was, one of the better receivers that they had. So, I mean, I think it's a great signing. And like you said, makes the wide receiver room, really, really deep. And I think a lot of these guys are going to hopefully have to be able to play special teams because it's going to come down to the point where I think some of y'all's favorite guys or even draft people that we drafted or signed unrestricted free or undrafted free agents, people are going to end up getting cut, unfortunately, because I just don't know if you're able to keep as many receivers as we do have. But I think Hunter Renfrow brings great competition to the room. I think everybody's going to have to be on their toes, and everybody's going to have to play the best football of their lives in that room, in particular when it comes to training camp in the offseason. Yeah,
I love the signing of Hunter Renfrow. I will say it makes me a little bit worried about Jalen Coker in the sense of the room is getting a little bit crowded. And as a UDFA, although he had a really good season last year, how much of an opportunity will he continue to get just because of, like, we all know salary, the amount you get paid plays a part into it. Your draft position plays a part into it. XL isn't losing his spot. Tet isn't losing his spot. Adam Thielen, we anticipate, probably won't be losing his spot as either if he's healthy. Hunter Renfrow is going to come in and probably surpass him because of his body of work in the NFL. So it keeps, every time I look up, it's like Jalen Coker keeps getting pushed a little bit further down the depth chart, and I really don't want to see that happen for the kid.
And not to cut you off, but you also brought in Jimmy Horn in the draft, who provides you with something that nobody else in the room does, just to further your point.
Yeah, and we'll touch on that later because I thought there was something interesting that was said in the presser or the interview that Thomas Davis and Dan Morgan had with
on Panthers Huddle.
Yeah, because I think Jimmy Horn's going to be completely different animal, but he will make the team though. I'll go ahead and spoil that. Jimmy Horn will be on this roster. So yeah, I just hope that this signing doesn't impact the amount of touches and opportunities that Jalen Coker gets, especially after what we saw him do last season.
Yeah,
but I do like the Hunter Renfrow signing though.
Yeah, and I think all of that has to be based on if Hunter Renfrow, like obviously, how many years did he take off? 1, 2?
Just one.
1 year.
And it was a severe.
And it was an illness.
Yeah, it was a severe
he had a health
illness.
condition.
Yeah.
Which I think, as a human being, as a man going into that room, I think is going to be a great addition because he's somebody who literally is like the literal embodiment of perseverance and pushing through adversity. And I think, and he's experienced in the league. He's going to be a great person and influence to have in that locker room, especially on the younger guys.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's a great signing. But all in all, it might not be enough to, land him a spot on the team, unfortunately. And I think like you said, we're going to touch more on that. But this is all going to be based on if Hunter Renfrow comes back to be the same receiver that he was when he retired, quote unquote.
Yeah. Just to add on to your point a little bit as well, that was something that Dan Morgan, I believe he touched on it on Pat McAfee this past week because he did like 20, 25 minutes. I mean, shout out to Pat McAfee and the job that they do. I love their show. Like, I don't think I ever would have thought that ESPN out of all platforms would be getting the amount of coverage, I guess, that he's been getting. Like, just like a 25-minute conversation with a random NFL GM. Like, I feel like that's unheard of. I'm sure it's happened before, but as consistently as it happens with, like, mega names, not including Dan Morgan in this situation, but, like, you got Belichick. You got Aaron Rodgers that pulls up. Brady was pulling up weekly for a time or another. Like, It's just crazy, bro. It's just crazy. So, shout out to them.
And I'm sure it helps Dan Morgan being obviously Dan Morgan's a bro.
Yes, absolutely.
And Pat McAfee's 100%
a bro.
So I'm sure that tidbit or that relationship helps out a lot too.
Yeah, and I think if you were watching Pat McAfee before, like as wild as he is, I never thought that ESPN would be the ones that picked him up. But Facts. It's great on their part because he used to say some wild shit and do some wild shit.
And he still does.
He's toned it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes,
but
because
it's
Disney. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's Disney. So, like, you're only going to go so far. But in that same breath, it is Disney. So you have a free reign to do a little more stuff than, other companies that tend to lean a little more conservative in that aspect. So it's just a perfect marriage, in my opinion. Perfect marriage. And, I mean, the bag that he got.
Insane. And they got a lot of resources and a lot of sources. That's where y'all supposed to say sis.
Okay.
That's what they do on the show. Y'all don't watch. Y'all ain't tapped in for real. y'all ain't tapped in for real.
Okay, my fault. We missed it. I'll just be watching the interviews. My fault. You got to teach us more. But, this wide receiver room has gotten a lot more interesting. And the reason why it's even more interesting to me is because, like, you talk about Jalen Coker, and we can go ahead and have the conversation now just because this segue was good enough. You talk about Jalen Coker and the production that you think or lack of opportunities he'll have to produce heading into the season if he even makes the roster. And what's kind of confusing and challenging for me, I guess, to, like, say 6 names that are guaranteed to be in is the fact that now everybody in that room are Dave Canales guys with the exception of Adam Thielen. And just based on the production that you've gotten from Adam Thielen, there's just simply nothing that can happen to him. Like, I'm not going to hold you. Like, we're going to have a real conversation if Adam Thielen ends up getting cut. Now, if you trade him, obviously all of this is hypothetical, but if you trade him, then cool. I can live with that. But based on the production that you've gotten from Adam Thielen, him being your top receiver the past 2 years, even with the injury last year, that's why it gets a little challenging. And then, like I said, everybody now that's in that room, if you look at David Moore, you look at Nalo, you look at Excel, Coker, Jimmy Horn, all of these guys are guys that Canales and Morgan have agreed on and have given the opportunity to play for the Carolina Panthers. So the room is very, very crowded right now. It is, right? And I mean, if you look at it, you would think, just based on, like you said, the body of work in the NFL, you would think that David Moore would potentially be the first odd man out. But in that same breath, it's just like, is he though?
He should be. From the outside looking in, he should be.
He should be as well.
But will he? Because he is a Canales guy.
He loves him. Canales and his whole staff just love David Moore, and I just don't understand why, to be quite frank.
I mean, he's followed him pretty much everywhere he's been. And we don't know what type of work he does, like, behind the scene. He might be, like, a really hardworking guy. Probably is. I mean, he's in the NFL.
Yeah, are we going to reward that, or are we going to reward production and guys that have you to give you the best opportunity?
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just trying to rationalize why he would be ever considered to be picked over any of the other names that we just named.
Yeah, I mean, I think something that could also be overlooked is, like, you also got to make sure that these guys are the guys that Bryce wants as well. Because I think that plays a big part. Like, Dave Canales, obviously, he's the head coach. He's making a lot of the decisions. And Dan Morgan, but Dave Canales isn't out there throwing the ball. He's not out there building that chemistry and connection with the receivers. So, and I think David Moore, I mean, our wide receiver room was obviously mediocre last year, but David Moore was one of the more reliable targets for Bryce Young because, unfortunately, XL couldn't really get it together at a certain point. So, I mean, David Moore could be a Bryce guy. We just don't know, and it makes it tough not being able to see training camp, not being able to be at training camp to kind of see those connections and that chemistry.
That pisses me off even more.
This is such a great year to go to see this battle that's about to take place in this receiver room.
Because it's like also they did sign a lot of rookies, a lot of rookie wide receivers as well, and I mean, I feel like you got to give those guys a shot too. Like, they have to have a fair shake at it in training camp as well. So, like, that's why I was saying, like, a lot of y'all's favorite guys or, you know, guys that you think would fit well on the team might end up being guys who are the odd man out, unfortunately, i.e. a David Moore.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And the way that the social media team for the Carolina Panthers have been gassing Hunter Renfrow up, it just makes it very, very hard for me to believe that he's going to be the odd man out.
I do love those sexy slow-mo videos, though, where he's breaking them down.
He be going crazy. His route running is insane. And to me, like, if we're just having an honest conversation, he damn near is just another Adam Thielen.
Just younger.
Just a younger version of him. Right?
He is.
He's only 29. So that makes me even more skeptical. That's why I even brought up the idea of Adam Thielen potentially being cut, because it's just like he only has one more year on his contract.
Yeah.
This past week, he was talking about retirement and just that whole process, like what it looked like with his family and everything like that. And then he said, you know, obviously he doesn't know what the future holds. But again, this is his last year with the Carolina Panthers contractually. So I don't know. It makes things very, very interesting.
I think he's playing one more season, though. I mean,
he's playing this year.
But I think after this year, that's when the conversation is. But I don't think he would get cut. I mean,
why? Make your argument for him not to be cut. Yeah, the production, but at the same time, if I get a guy that's younger than you, that runs routes better than you, and that's a little bit quicker than you, and he's telling me that he's healthy after the major illness he had, he took a year off.
Right. But I could have two of you. Like, just because I know your health is unreliable, and I know this guy almost died a year ago. Am I really going to put my full faith that he's going to be the guy that I lean on all season too? Like, or I could just keep y'all both, and then David Moore, you're the odd man out because I have better versions of you. I feel like Jalen Coker is better than David Moore. Tet is better than David Moore.
T-Mac.
Excel
he doesn't want to be called Tet. Him and his mom said don't call him Tet.
I'm not calling him T-Mac.
So then you know what.
That's
So then,
reserved for.
so then you know what you need to call them. Then I should have brought my fucking jersey. I should have had my jersey on backwards. Hey, the Nalo jersey came in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good. Tetairoa McMillan.
There we go. That works.
Is better than David Moore.
Yes.
Xavier Legette.
Can we not do it, bro? Can we not do it today?
I was gonna say. Hold on. I just had to. Xavier Legette is better than David Moore. But just say it a little bit more quiet.
I was like, but you can't go. You can't do all that for Tet and then say
right for somebody that hasn't even played a down of
bro,
football in the NFL.
Bro, I'm dicking around because y'all know how it gets with XL on this show. But
I need my jersey. I'm probably gonna order it tonight.
Yeah, I just feel like you just have names that are, and then I think Jimmy Horn is going to be better than David Moore, and that's where I feel like if you're talking about somebody who's younger, quicker, runs better routes, it would be David Moore versus Jimmy Horn. And I think Jimmy Horn's going to be better than David Moore.
What does that room look like, depth chart wise? What does that room look like right now to you guys?
Why don't we just do? You got to keep 6, right?
You got to keep 6.
6 is bare. 6 is bare minimum. If you just go pull up the Panthers roster on ESPN.
And what do we have? 8, or have we been talking about 8, or have we been talking about 7?
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
No. We're not going to them because all of those are undrafted free agents.
Yeah, but you got guys like Moose Muhammad III. I think that his name alone, like just based off of there could be a little bit of nepotism there.
Practice squad.
You know how stuff gets. But I'm just saying, like, you got guys like that who you got to take into account. Jacoby George played at Miami, played with Cam Ward. So, I mean, that's why you got to name those guys because you got, it's just a lot of guys on the list. So,
okay. Well, I mean,
just pull up the list and keep your 6, basically.
My 6 is very, very simple and easy. Renfro, Thielen, and this is in no particular order, obviously, because I believe that XL is going to be wide receiver 1 this year. I do. As much as I gas Nalo up, I think that the conversation that you guys don't want to have is the fact that XL is going to be an extreme beneficiary from the Carolina Panthers picking Nalo. Because now the pressure of him having to be wide receiver 1 is off of him.
I'm not saying it's not a conversation we want to have.
I wasn't talking about you.
I was about to say,
I was talking about them.
I hope he is. I hope he's that guy.
Yeah, no. I think that in your heart, I do believe that I can agree that you hope that. But you just get up here and get the hating, and I just don't know why.
He ain't really showed us shit.
Did you see him at the Kentucky Derby?
I mean, that's all who the fuck they were posting. And then they asked him, like what he had to say about, all the fans saying that, they ain't seen him catching no balls, running no routes, but he all in all this other shit. I didn't really get to hear his response, but I know that was the question that they posed to him.
Well, he had a comment. Let me see if I can find it because he actually. So y'all two may not be familiar with this guy, but he does a podcast as well. His name is 2 Growls, 1 Roar, or I think he switched it now.
I heard him before.
2 shows, 1 host. So shout out to him. But he said this was the initial post was from 2 Growls, 2 shows, 1 host. I'm going to be respectful. He changed the name. So he said Panthers fans that are upset that he isn't spending every second of his day training are losers.
I seen that.
Smartest marketing partnership in a while. Just because you don't see 500 videos of him running routes on air doesn't mean he isn't working. And then XL commented with the salute emoji, and then he said, I live in the lab at 2 shows, 1 host, speak it with a handshake emoji. So that's what he had to say, kind of, in response to people like us, I guess, because we've been on this top. And all of that is great and it's cute, and I can do the same thing on Twitter. But
you got to show me.
Yeah, I was about to say, and this is where we kind of have to go slow because I feel like I've been XL enthusiast as it pertains to this podcast in particular. Just go slow, nigga. That's fine. I just see a lot of more people that post a lot more things and do a lot more work than I've seen XL do. That's it. That's the only thing that I say.
A lot of y'all want to be. This might be controversial, but
okay.
A lot of y'all, it's a lot of politics that go into it. Y'all would rather be on the player's good side and buddy. But on this pod, we really don't give a fuck. I'll just be honest.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna call it how we see it. So it's cool that we might be losers or whatever the fuck it may be, but until he shows us, then it is what it is. I'm standing on what I said. We ain't seen you put in no work. And based on what I seen last year, I'm going to need you to show me. Because I think that's why the Panthers went and drafted Ted. And I'm going to stand by that. So it is what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, if you don't believe that that's the case and you're a Carolina Panthers fan, I would challenge your ability to see things clear, to be quite frank. And I mean, I really wanted to say it another way, but we have a guest in here, so I'm going to be respectful. But, I mean, it's just damn near dick-eating at its finest if you feel like, oh, he's done enough or, you know, the Carolina Panthers didn't have any motivation or any internal conversations regarding, we just quite don't know if XL is that guy. Because if that was the case, then they wouldn't have went and got Nalo.
Because if XL would have had a year like Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas.
Not even a conversation.
Then I don't think Ted would have been in the conversation. But he didn't. So
and Dan Morgan, at some point or another, with all of the media that he's done over the past week, made the comment that Nalo has been their boy since January. Since January.
So since the season ended, and
yes.
we knew XL fucked off.
Yeah, long story short. So, like, that's cool. Like, I'm happy that you live in the lab, XL. And I hope that you're being honest about that. Because if not, then it's just going to be another situation of these two motherfuckers coming on the podcast saying I can't evaluate talent.
I just find it very hard to believe that you've been in the lab as much as you're alluding to right now when I see a TikTok account with you on a farm 24/7, and anybody who's ever worked on a farm knows how much effort and time it takes you got to put into them animals. So I just find it hard to believe that you're really in the lab the way that you say you are. But hey,
that's producer Tavian. I believe you have. I believe you, bit, bro.
Maybe you have farm hands or something helping you out around the property.
There you go. Boy, it's sad. Just what we was talking about. I believe you, big bro. It's just sad, bro.
But yeah, okay, so back to the original point, because we kind of went sidetracked there. So I'm going to give my 6. And I mean, I think that y'all probably will align with it, but I'll give y'all the floor. And I'll go in order for the sake of the conversation. I'm going to go XL because I believe XL is going to be wide receiver 1. Nalo, Thielen, just based on production. I want to say Coker bad. I'm going to say Coker. Coker, Renfro, Jimmy. That's the 6 for me personally. If they decide to keep 6, that's the 6 that you keep. But I'm interested to hear because, like you said, you made a couple of great points about David Moore, as did Dunk when we were on the live stream and things of that nature, about his relationship with Canales and how it always seems like where Dave Canales goes, David Moore goes, and as long as Dave Canales is in the league, David Moore will have a job. So I am interested to hear what you guys have to say.
I'm going to go switch it up a little bit. I'm going to go Tet. I'm going to go XL. I'm going to go Adam Thielen, Jalen Coker, Hunter Renfro, and Jimmy Horn. So same just a little bit out of order.
No, it was the same. I think
I had Tet.
As one. Yeah. Okay, got you.
And I'm not.
She should be. If you go top 10, you should be. But I digress.
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat it. I have the exact same list as Terrence.
Okay, cool.
So that leaves David Moore as the odd man out.
David Moore is the odd man out. I think that if David Moore is cut and it's a play that they try and make where he's cut and bring him back for the practice squad for him to clear waivers and all of that, they might be screwed. They might be screwed in that situation.
I think that's the case with a lot of these receivers, though. I mean,
they're going to try. You don't just go out with the current wide receiver room that you have, or that you had after the draft. You knowing that you were getting Renfro, you don't just go out and sign all of these receivers just to fill out a 90-man roster. You just don't do it. You just don't do it because there are other needs, which the Carolina Panthers did address, and we'll break down the undrafted free agent class a little bit next week. I haven't personally had time enough to do enough digging and research to give you guys good information, knowledgeable information, so we're just going to hold off for a week. But we will break break that down next week. But yeah, I don't think that you go out and sign all of those guys assuming that they make the 53. I think a lot of those guys are going to be practice squad bodies, at least attempting to be practice squad bodies. But obviously, we all know the risk you run with that. What you got?
Yeah, and Raheem Blackshear is also cut.
Raheem Blackshear is fucked.
Yeah,
it's over.
Play the video that I sent you. Because we're having this conversation now. The first video I sent you.
Okay.
Above the note.
All right, and you send it to
just us two.
Got you. Oh, just us two.
No. Yeah.
With us three in it.
Us three, yeah.
Okay, got you. I'm with you.
You would like, but he has really good ball skills and knows how to position.
I'm going to restart it.
You would like, but he has really good ball skills
and
knows how to position his body.
Yeah. Shout out, Mitch.
And then Jimmy Horn at the end, another punt returner. He can return punts, he can return kickoffs, and then he's got that juice that can, he can go deep and he can make plays. And then he's also really good with the ball in his hands after the catch and as a returner. So we feel like we added a dynamic player right there.
So versatility.
He
with
referenced
all three
him
of those guys.
catching
Sounds
punts, returning kicks 3 times in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Which clearly tells me that in Dan Morgan's head, Jimmy Horn is going to be the punt returner and kick returner for this team.
And Trevor Etienne is
he's fighting. He's fighting from the ground up.
Yeah,
at this point.
he plays in special teams too. He has special teams value. So
yeah, but he'll be the one that takes Raheem's job.
Yeah,
Etienne. No, Etienne.
Okay.
Etienne will take Raheem's job in the running back room. Jimmy's going to take his job as the punt returner. And kick returner.
Raheem is another one of those guys.
Raheem is cut.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys like I just referenced probably about 10 minutes ago where he's just not like he's been with the Panthers for a while. But I don't believe he's a Canales and Morgan guy. Because if he was, then we wouldn't even have got to the point of the offseason where he was allowed to go test the market. And he was on the market for 3 or 4 weeks before we decided to bring him back. And it was kind of like our hands are tied and we don't know how the board is going to fall to us. Yeah. And we don't really know what we want to do in these back rounds and if we want to take a chance on a guy that's just going to be specifically designed for a return job.
A good analogy for that is like when you're going to the grocery store. You never want to go to the grocery store on an empty stomach.
Facts.
You always want to have something, so you're not just buying everything on the shelf. And that's what they did when they re-signed Raheem Blackshear.
They still kind of did buy everything else with the Trevor Etienne pick, but I digress. Continue. Great point. Great analogy.
Yeah, they might have bought a high-calorie snack.
Yeah, I mean, just bullshit. And again, I'm not attacking Trevor Etienne, but 114, unacceptable.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
But I feel like that was Raheem's purpose now on the team was just in case we can't walk away from the draft with a guy that we like at running back, we're going to bring you back, just in case.
Facts.
But we just so happen to hit 2 guys that we believe in have more potential than you at basically the only jobs that you have on this team. RB3 and kick return. So that's all that being said is exactly why I think David Moore will be out as well and Jimmy Horn is in as the 6th guy because he provides you that return value. And Dan Morgan did everything but tell you he's the punt returner for this team.
Yeah. Heading into training camp, and not even training camp, just heading into OTAs and everything in between. I think that's what that currently looks like. I do. But all of that being said, the biggest thing for me heading into the summer, and I know that we're so far away, and we're not going to dive into this like too much, but you guys can comment, obviously. The biggest thing is health. Like, we have to get through this little spring aspect or portion and get through the summer. And then, that room should look the way that all of us predict it'll look. But everybody has to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. Everybody has to stay healthy, especially with these younger guys, these fringe guys that we don't really know. Like, it's a possibility that you could be let go and brought back practice squad, whatever the case may be. Like, it's not a guarantee that Jimmy Horn is going to make it, even though you've made a lot of valid points. He is still just a 6th-round pick, with all due respect, who wasn't that productive in college. And Dan Morgan did make a point multiple times that we want guys that were productive in college. That's just simply what we want. And we had a good conversation when we broke down the draft class last week when Terrence mentioned that, yeah, he wasn't that productive because he had Trav and he had
LaJohntay Webster
in the same room as him, and there's only one football to go around, right? So that's also a valid point. So I don't know. It just makes things a lot easier. And the problem that Bryce Young had 2 years ago where he's throwing it, with all due respect, Jonathan Mingo, Terrace Marshall, Adam Thielen. That is no longer a problem. All of that being said, that whole breakdown, everything that we just said was said to come to the conclusion that we do not have a shortage of weapons anymore. And y'all know how I feel about Mitchell Evans, which is a whole different conversation. Like I said, as we progress throughout the summer and through the spring and things of that nature, we'll definitely dive into this roster a lot more because I think there are a lot of rooms that are going to be extremely competitive. And that's the way Dan Morgan and Dave Canales wanted to set up this roster. We talk about it on this podcast all the time. Y'all hear it every time they speak. You hear them saying, challenge the roster. Challenge the roster. And that's how you become a competitive football team again. Because that's step one. Like, no matter all of the conversations we want to have, we want to talk about playoffs and potentially winning the division. And I saw, this week on Twitter, it was a huge conversation about the NFC South projections / predictions amongst different fan bases and things of that nature. Step number one for the Carolina Panthers is becoming competitive again. Because all of the shit is cute. But if you look at it, over the last 2 seasons, you've only won 7 ball games. You've only won 7 ball games over the last 2 seasons. So step one is being competitive. But as you become competitive, once that championship window opens, and I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that is going to be this season, but once it opens, you want to make sure that you have the guys that you know you're ready to go into battle with. And the best way to do that is to challenge the roster. Every single day, challenge the roster and make guys feel as though, hey, you're not bigger than the program. You're not bigger than the program, and you don't see that any more clear than the situation with XL. Even though I love them, even though I'm going to continue to, defend them on this podcast and do everything, whatever the case may be, the facts are the facts. And the tea leaves tell us that this was a we're going to challenge the roster moment. And I'll say that, and then I'll say that Trevin Wallace, he's a guy that got let off the hook. And I know they went out and signed a couple of linebackers, UDFAs, but he got let off the hook.
Well, Dan Morgan likes him apparently, from what I've seen.
And I don't. And for the life of me, to be honest, I just don't know why. I just don't know why.
I think he had to gas him up in that moment because I think that where you picked Trevor Etienne, you could have looked linebacker there, and you didn't snag anyone. So now you have to be okay, quote unquote, with the room of Trevin Wallace and Josie Jewell, even though he alluded to we're going to still be looking to, looking at areas of the team and continue to try to find players to, kind of fit into that scheme.
I think this will be a great segue into the Steve Smith comment then about going Tet number one, because you did have an opportunity to pick up the same linebacker that Philly ended up drafting all the way at 32. You had an opportunity to draft that guy, and he was the top linebacker in the class.
Yeah, but
and he's a game changer on defense. So you had an opportunity to bolster your team, and I think I haven't. Let's just roll the clip. Let's roll the clip and give our opinions on it.
Yeah.
Well, I
think you could make a case in that situation that you should have passed up on Tet, and I know a lot of Panthers fans don't want to hear that.
Steve Smith at this point in his life, and I'm gonna try and be. I'm just going to try to be very respectful because we even have a grail of him just sitting, at the top of the wall.
Well, if you don't do it, I'm going to do it.
It's just some hating ass shit, dog. But we'll, like Tavian said, we'll roll the clip.
And you got bigger shit to worry about, unfortunately.
It threw me off because now you got some good picks later in the round, some what they call value picks. But when you're looking at this defense who gave up a ton of points, you don't really want to add value picks. You want to add game changers.
Yeah. And you had an opportunity to do that.
Correct. And is T-Mac a game changer? Here's my answer to that.
This is when the hater shit begins.
At the college level, he changed the game. He did a great job. And I've never met the young man personally, so I have no ill will towards him. I don't dislike him, and I don't like him. Meaning, I haven't met him to give you a fair assessment. All I can do is look at his film and evaluate him as his film. I don't know him personally. Obviously, he's going to be here in Charlotte, so I will get to know him if we choose to have that relationship. If we don't,
I just want to say, I just want to pause right here and just say this whole This whole like preface and then the whole discourse that he goes on, it's just hating shit. It's just nasty old head hating shit. But we'll talk about it.
You know, I'm going through some stuff. Hey, yeah, things happen, right? You know what I'm saying?
Detours occur.
Yeah. But I thought was interesting is when I break down that receiver room, you have Adam Thielen, possession receiver. Jalen Coker, possession receiver. I guess David Moore's a speed guy.
Okay.
Maybe he's a speed guy. What would you say he's a speed guy?
Yeah. It's more of that than possession receiver. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Xavier Liggett, what would you consider him?
Work in progress?
Thank you. So work in progress means technically.
And this is why I say it, and he just continues to break down the room a little bit, but I just want to stop it right there. This is when it's just like a little confusing because you say that, you crown David Moore the speed guy, but then you don't give the same leeway, I guess you could say, to XL who ran a 4.3.
Yeah, I do think XL is the speed guy.
Yeah, I don't understand
it's just
how
hating ass shit.
How you're just not saying XL is faster than fucking David Moore.
Yeah, but he's not considered the speed guy when he won multiple routes vertically last year.
Yeah, but I don't understand where Steve Smith is going with this because he knows that for a team to go, you have to have a quarterback. Like, the quarterback is what drives the engine. And for the quarterback to drive the engine, the quarterback has to have weapons. And so I think that's what they did and going to get Ted at 8. And I don't think that it was ever a conversation to where we were going to think about picking a fucking linebacker, like, or even trading back to get a linebacker to Jahai Campbell. So I don't even know where he's
an edge rusher / outside backer. So I can see it just because you did need an edge rusher.
Yeah, but I don't know if he was ever on our draft board.
Jahai?
Yeah, I don't know if he was ever on the board.
I mean, at some point or another, the Carolina Panthers odds had to light up, and we're going to dive into this a little bit as well. Just the conversation that Dan Morgan had on Pat McAfee as well as Panthers Huddle. But they had Scorton being a first-round guy.
Yeah.
Their eyes had to light up once they get out of day one and they see he's still available.
Yeah.
And when you get to pick 22, 23, and then you go from 23 to 30 and he's still not selected and you look at team needs, your eyes are even bigger. So it's just like, no, it's probably best that we didn't trade back, actually. But continue.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that this is the thing with a lot of these older guys. They just be fucking hating, especially when they see someone with the potential to dethrone what they did in the organization. And I think that, and I'm not giving Ted that crown yet, but I'm saying, like, based on where Ted was rated, based on who a lot of people believe that he could be, he has the opportunity to challenge maybe a legacy like Steve Smith. And I think we see that a lot, even in the NBA, to where the older guys do a lot of hating on the younger guys. They don't like to give them their credit. And I think that this is the same thing in this situation. Because, like you said, he doesn't know the guy personally. He can only go based on what he sees on film. So what the fuck does film tell you? So that's why so I don't understand where he was going with that, honestly.
Yeah, and I think that it was either Dunk or Low that kind of gave me a little bit more perspective into this, and I think that, like, T-Mac's coach, one of his college coaches, I don't know if it was position coach, offensive coordinator, I don't know, so I won't even get up here assuming what it was, but they made a point to me that him and the coach, him and one of T-Mac's coaches have had a little back and forth here and there, right? But, like, you know, don't get me wrong, as it pertains to Steve Smith, he has gotten some guys right. As he's retired, he's, you know, kind of embraced this talent evaluator specifically around draft time. He's gotten a couple of guys right? He got DJ Moore right, I would say. Now, it took him a little bit of time, in my opinion, DJ Moore, but you know my relationship as a fan with DJ Moore. So I'll say he got DJ Moore right. I think Puka was another guy, if I'm not mistaken, that he had very, very high on his board.
I don't vividly remember that, but it could be.
Yeah, there have been a couple of guys that Steve Smith has gotten right. But there's also been some guys that he's gotten wrong. And obviously you guys know. Yeah, I was about to say, obviously y'all know who I'm going to bring up immediately. And I'm going to say Jonathan Mingo because he was banging the drum for Jonathan Mingo. And with all due respect, Jonathan Mingo just simply ain't worth the fuck. And this is coming from somebody that was a defender of him for 3 years. And I say that with all due respect, not challenging Jonathan Mingo as a man, who he is characteristically. Nothing that of that sort. Just simply going based off of his ability to play football at the highest level there is. He's not worth shit. How we got a 4th round pick for him, I'm forever grateful. Yeah, I'm forever grateful.
Because he would have been cut this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It wouldn't even have been a conversation.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even have been a conversation. So it's just it's nasty, bro. Really, really hate to see it as it pertains to a young organization like the Carolina Panthers, where a lot of these guys really were playing when these younger guys were like growing up for real. At this point, like, it's not a situation where you have such a large legacy where a lot of your stars and Hall of Famers were playing, in the 70s and 80s, where a lot of these kids weren't even born yet, right? Steve Smith was still playing when T-Mac was a baby, or was a young kid and able to see and understand what was going on. And then the first thing that you do, and he's been doing this for the past 3 or 4 months, is hate on the nigga. For like no particular reason, completely unprovoked. It's nasty, nasty work, bro. I think he had T-Mac ranked like 7 or 8 of his top wide receivers heading into the draft.
That's nasty.
There's just no way that you can look at this class and say that that's accurate and give that kind of list any validity. There's just not.
And that's probably why he feels so strongly about T-Mac being picked at 8. But I do think he did make somewhat of a valid point though at the beginning when he was like, because he said it, with the defense being historically bad, you have an opportunity to get a game changer on that side of the ball in particular.
Who?
Well, he didn't give an answer, so I'm not going to.
Yeah. So if we're talking about, okay, so I'm just going to pause your statement right here because it was a valid point. But we came on this podcast on multiple occasions and said there's not really that many generational talent / game changers in the entire draft class.
Especially if Mason Brown went before it got us, and Abdul and Trav.
Yeah.
And that was pretty
The game changers are gone if you're sitting top 10 and you're stuck.
Yeah.
Like, who are we going to work with? So we're going to reach for banged up Jalen Walker? We're going to reach for JPJ, who fell complete #1 edge rusher prospect heading into last season, completely falls all the way down.
Mike Green fell all the way down.
Mike Green with the alligator. Like, so who are we referencing? Donovan Ezeraku? Like,
well, y'all know how I feel. Like, I made the argument that you drafted as easy at 8, but I don't know. Maybe
I don't agree with that. Every conversation that me and him have had, at the very least, has been that is an option if you decide to trade back.
Yeah, he's never.
Never been a top 10 prospect ever. So I'm just very, very confused. Like you said, it's like I understand it, but it's not at the same time, right? But who? That's #1, and #2. If you look at the class as a whole, it's not like the Carolina Panthers didn't address it. They double dipped, they too, and they got guys that they had ranked in the 1st round in Nick Scourton and Princely in the 2nd round.
Yeah,
they got them in the 2nd and 3rd.
And according to experts, they were top 10 in pass rushers in the draft. They were there.
Yeah. So it's not like you didn't address it. So this is like this whole clip and this whole like 2.5-month rant that Steve Smith continues to go on is really just nasty ass hate and work. That's all it is. It's just nasty hate and work from Steve Smith, and I absolutely hate to see that from a legend. I do, because you know that some of these guys, most of these guys, 99% of these guys that are coming into the league at some point or another have done something to replicate Steve Smith or have, looked up to him in some form or fashion. And when you're coming into Carolina, there's not many legends that have walked the halls. There's not many Hall of Famers that have walked the halls of Bank of America Stadium. And for you to just be on some hate and shit for a guy that is in your position, valid point from you.
At your organization.
Nasty. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Steve Smith, give it a fucking break with all due respect. Forever grateful for what you've done. You'll always be top 2 for me. Actually, and I wouldn't even say top 2 because I still have Steve Smith as being my #1 Panther of all time, even with the infatuation that I have for Cam. So he'll always be #1 for me personally. There's nothing that anybody can do to change that, but give it a fucking break. Enough is enough, bro. Enough is enough. Like, I pray to God that this is the last time that we have to have this conversation because it's nasty work. It's nasty. And there's no reason for it. It's like unprovoked. Like I feel like Nalo hasn't done anything for him to react this way. Like, he ain't came out of his mouth and said nothing crazy about Smitty that we know of. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't done shit but hoop. He ain't done shit but hoop and get drafted by a team that you used to play for. And now it's just disgusting.
If it is a situation where Steve is worried about his records, well, you should be.
Yeah.
You should be.
And I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not gonna go that far. Like, I can understand why that would be the case if that was the case. But like they always say, records are made to be broken.
Yeah, but
Records
I'm saying he should be because Nalo is the type of guy that can do it. That's why I'm saying he should be.
I think Excel can do it.
Well, even if that's the case, I mean,
he wasn't on no hating shit with Excel.
Yeah, like, so it's still.
He has something against Nalo, and I don't know what it is.
I told you how old it is. They be on that hating shit.
Yeah.
They always do that to the younger generation. I don't know why.
It's disgusting. I think it's just partially like just the idea of potentially being forgotten, I guess.
Yeah.
But for the OG Panthers fans, which I would claim myself to be one, and there are guys that are older than me that have had consciousness sooner than I did, right? I don't think that with us it'll ever be lost what you did for this organization, Steve Smith. We know who you are. We know what you meant to the city. We've never questioned or challenged that. And it makes it even more weird when you take into account that Nalo is Cali till he died. And you Cali. But then I have to hear comments about you claiming and saying that he ain't really Cali, he ain't this, he ain't that.
So he even went that far?
Yes! Yeah. Yes! I don't know if I can pull it, but yeah, he went that far. He went that far. Let me see if I can pull it fast. Let me see if I can pull it fast. Yes, he went that far.
That's nasty, bro. It just makes him look bad. It makes him look terrible, honestly.
Let me see if I can pull it, so I can get an exact quote. Cause I'm just like, bro, it's just not. I'm not gonna be able to find it. I should have screenshot it when I seen it. But it's just like, bro, like, come on, bro. Like, come on, dog. It's, you know.
Like you said, he never even met the man personally, but
you're
talking about all things with him, not anything to do with his on the field play.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even Cali. Like, what? Like, what are we talking about? Are we kids?
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy and nasty work. But Steve Smith, long story short, all of that being said, give it a fucking break. Give it a break. And honestly, if you can't separate your personal feelings and the paranoia that you potentially have with somebody coming in and eclipsing you in greatness, if you can't separate those two things, then just simply don't even comment on shit that we have going on if you can't do that. Because I don't need another Bryce Young situation. And I say that with all due respect, but we all know what Bryce Young looked like at the beginning of the 2024. And we came on FPFO. It was actually a live stream, virtual live stream. We came on FPFO and we let y'all know what the problem was. Because he lost his girl. Did we not? We came on here and said it. And we saw how that shit affected his game in totality, right or wrong. I don't need another one of those situations where I got a young nigga, 20, 21, 22 years old, and his brain is fucked off because of something you said. I don't need it. I don't need it. That actually may make me take him down on the list should it occur. But hopefully, Nalo is a dog that I think he is, and he don't let none of that shit happen, and he actually goes out and has a point to prove. So cool, fuck nigga, before I might have just would have chilled, and I might would have let your record stand and did what I could and not try and do too much. But now I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna prove a point to you since you wanna have my name in your mouth. That's the approach that I hope he takes. But it could easily be a confident shot thing. And that just kind of pisses me off if I'm just being honest. But it's the off season, so we should all be happy.
Yeah, we might end up taking that shit down.
Let's go to Fan Blitz real quick. Let's see. There were a couple of great questions. Bloody came back, Tavian, by the way, for whatever it's worth.
Good.
Okay, we've gotten a couple of great questions this week. The first one comes from Zay Gets Busy on Instagram. He said, with another year together, should we expect improvement from this coaching staff? Absolutely, 1,000%.
Yeah, I don't think you have a choice. I mean, especially if y'all are deeming them 9 to 11 wins. I mean, I would expect it to be some kind of improvement. Zay, if you're on that train as well. But, yeah, I think you have to see improvement or, I mean, there's going to have to be some conversations that are had. I don't see in a way that they take a step back. Everyone has had a year under their belt. Everyone is familiar with everyone at this point, knows how they want to do things in the offseason, play guys in the preseason.
Yes.
But, yeah, I think you'll definitely see a big step taken with the coaching staff and the players.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything Terrence just said. And then you take into account that Dave Canales was a rookie head coach last year, first time ever being a head coach in the NFL. So you couple that with, like Terrence just mentioned, the cohesion that, you know, has kind of oozed out of the walls of Bank of America Stadium this offseason. Couple that with the fact that EJ is on the hot seat. I think that it's a recipe for success. So I don't think that there's any possible way at all that the coaching staff, you don't see significant improvements. Let me see. Next question. This comes from Ruski. I am Ruski Rose on Instagram. NFL been promoting BY9 and XL a lot lately. How PT games do you think we? I don't really. I guess maybe how many?
Time.
Oh, facts. Okay, good. Thank you. How many primetime games? We just talked about this with ESPN and everybody. I think this year we'll get 3 primetime games. I'm going to go 3 primetime games. 3. Do you have a number?
I don't really have a number, but if I had to throw one out there, I'll say 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think that's probably the sweet spot. Just because, like, we're not there yet, so we ain't getting Dallas money. We ain't getting Dallas slots. But I think that we get 3, which is a huge upgrade from 0. This comes from Bloody on X. Did you want to answer that? My bad. You didn't answer the first one, so I thought you were taking it off.
Nah, you good. No, I was just looking at the schedule here. I think one of those division games is definitely going to be prime time, especially the ones closer to the end of the season with the playoff implications.
Maybe Bills.
That was another one I was thinking.
Bills. I think that Jacksonville game,
if it's overseas, yeah, which probably will be. That'll be a prime time, and I'm thinking potentially. No, because that's at home. Potentially the 49ers game, though. That's on the road. Actually, no, because they're not going to be that good. Yeah.
I think
so. I'm
Bills,
thinking 2 or 3.
Jacksonville, and maybe Tampa. If one of those Tampa games is later in the season.
I also think potentially the Dallas game if it's later in the season because I do anticipate both teams being good and that having potential NFC seeding playoff implications.
Facts. Yeah, I can see 3. I can see 3 for sure. Bloody asked, which defensive player which defensive player we got during the offseason so far will have the biggest impact this year? Princely.
Interesting.
Princely.
A rookie.
Princely. I think Princely is going to come on to the scene, and I'm going to go ahead and make a bold take right now. I think Princely is going to lead the team in sacks. So I think that Princely is going to make the most immediate impact and be felt the most. Give me Princely. I have Princely.
I don't.
Got Bobby.
Maybe Turk.
Yeah.
I think that him playing alongside Derrick Brown and just seeing the high motor that he played with in the Super Bowl on the biggest stage, I think he brings that kind of experience to the team. I think being that, he'll probably have a lot of free runs at the quarterback and at the running back, being that teams are going to have to try to find a solution with Derrick Brown. I think he'll bring a big impact, but I don't hate the Princely or even Nick Scourton either, but I'll go Turk.
I'm going with Trayvon Merring. I think he's going to have the biggest impact. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to, when he gets to Carolina, you're notorious for wanting him to prove something to you. I think he's a guy that's going to turn a lot of people on as fans of him and his play style once he shows up to Carolina. So I'm going with Trayvon Merring, especially considering Carolina hasn't had a play-making, difference-making safety in quite some time.
Okay. Not mad at it. Let's see. Okay, this is about undrafted free agents. So we'll store that away for next year. Or not next year. Jeez. Not next year. Next week. My apologies. We'll store that away for next week. But shout out to everybody that sent in a question this week. We appreciate it. It helps us with our content. It helps with fan interaction, supporter interaction, however you view it. So shout out to y'all, man. We appreciate it. And there's definitely a couple of names that are returners to Fan Blitz. So shout out to y'all for always staying engaged and, showing us support and interacting with the show because it always makes it better. And if you want to be a part of the show and you want to be a part of Fan Blitz, make sure that you're following us on social media at For Panthers Fans Only on Instagram, at FPFO_podcast on X. Every Monday afternoon, we post an opportunity for you to ask questions and to be featured on the show for that particular week. So if you're not familiar and you want to be a part of the show, you have an opportunity to do so. And there's that. Also, if you're watching right now on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn that bell notification on. It's the only thing that we ask. That's it. Who would like to kick us off this week? I don't know if I even have a 2-minute warning.
Me neither, honestly.
I don't have anything that I would like to rant about today, personally.
Mine isn't going to be a rant. Somebody wants to start me out. I might not even need a timer, honestly. I might not go the full minute. So, but 2 minutes. My one message to everybody this week would be with Mother's Day coming up this weekend, and with my mother being in the building, I think I would be remiss to not mention something about it. Just make sure that you take care of your moms this weekend. Show them some love. Spend some time with them. They sacrifice. Our parents, in particular, our mothers sacrifice a lot for us to be here. They put their bodies on the line, just like we want the Panthers and our favorite teams to do every week. We want them to put their bodies on the line. Our mothers put their bodies on the line for us to come into this world. So it's an excellent opportunity to show them love and make sure y'all take care of them.
Wow, that was great, buddy. Do you have anything?
I literally don't have anything.
Let's see if I have anything. Oh, yeah, I do have something. This past week, we witnessed the end of the LeBron James era, unfortunately. I think that LeBron James will not be an LA Laker this offseason or after this summer. I think that the only way that LeBron James returns back to the highest stage, that being the NBA Finals and winning another ring, is for him to potentially join forces elsewhere outside of LA. And the most team that, to me, makes the most sense at this very moment would be the Golden State Warriors. Now, I, as a LeBron stan, would absolutely despise that move. And to me, he would be taken down significantly on my GOAT list. Because right now he's at 1. If he makes that move, he would go down to maybe 4 or 5. Because I would absolutely despise that move. But I will say, I do believe that we saw the end of the LeBron James era this past week. Very sad, very emotional time for Terrence. But, that's how it happens. Father Time finally has caught up with LeBron, in my opinion. Now, they say, allegedly, he had an injury. What did they say? An MCL sprain or something like that?
Yeah.
Do you believe it?
Well, they said that if the Lakers would have won the series, he wouldn't play in the next series.
Do you believe
I
that?
don't know how true that is.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe anything that they're telling us.
Unless he went and got one of those shots to where
because he do be getting them shots.
Yeah.
He do be getting them shots for sure. But I just think that it's over with. R.I.P. To the LeBron James era of the NBA. And literally walked in that trap and said, nigga, you know what time it is, bitch. And then told him, hey, fuck nigga, congratulate my teammate. And what'd he do? Okay, never mind.
I don't know what you're
I figured we weren't going to get an answer. But yeah,
I don't know what you're in reference to.
Okay, that's fine. He told him to congratulate that nigga.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Congratulate who?
Rudy
Gobert.
Oh, I definitely.
But yeah, I don't know who I'm going for anymore in the NBA playoffs, but there are a lot of players that I would love to see win a ring.
I'm going for Ant.
I would love to see Ant win a ring. I would love to see Jimmy win a ring. I would love to see Russ win a ring.
Oh, that would be a good one too.
I mean, there's a lot. Tatum, obviously, y'all know how I feel about brotherhood.
Nope.
Love to see Tatum win another ring. I think honestly, if it wasn't for Tatum, then this would be Ant's league. But as of right now, it's the JT show, nigga.
JT just isn't.
He has
big
a ring.
time enough.
He has a ring. He's been the most successful player in that time.
He's just so goofy.
Yeah, he's a goofy, but
Ant looked right at 44 in his face and told him to stand back. And 44 is in reference to Barry, the 44th president. He looked that man dead in his face and said, "Stand back." He said, "Stand back."
You better ask about me. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, he's a lot more marketable. I'll say that. A lot more marketable, and he has that killer in him for sure. So yeah, shout out to Ant and the Timberwolves. They did say
he took down child support, LeBron, Luka,
Kevin Durant,
Kevin Durant, all at the age of 23.
Yeah, I mean, round of applause. That's a historic run. That is a historic run. I mean, oh my God, yeah. He's one of them ones. He's one of them ones. That's undeniable. And LeBron James and Kevin Durant and Luka Doncic can tell y'all the most. And I will also say this. Luckily for everybody involved, the Dallas Mavericks weren't healthy. Because if they were, I'm just telling y'all something that I know. Them niggas would be sweeping everybody, and they would be getting fitted. I'm just telling y'all something that I know. Too. Yeah. And there's a possibility that LeBron James, I say Golden State, but there's a possibility he ends up in Dallas. And if that's the case and he gets back with Kyrie and AD, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. But
I just think he has too much going on in LA that I just don't know if he would leave that behind personally.
Well, that's why he has a great team.
He has a son that's bouncing between the G League and the NBA.
I mean, I'm talking about outside of basketball though.
Yeah, I mean,
freak offs with Diddy.
Well, those are coming to an end.
Yeah, so he might as well.
Well, not even coming to an end. They're an end. The trial started today, didn't it?
Did it?
I'm pretty sure.
I have no idea. I don't know. No reason for me to keep up with
it. It did?
Give him the chair.
Yeah. Well, LeBron was present. It's a lot of y'all, actually, never mind, I already have my 2 minutes. It's a lot of y'all niggas that hope that he plea out or he commits suicide. It's a lot of y'all that feel that way in LA and in the industry as a whole.
Just a question. We couldn't get no Latin music for the outro today? Cinco de Mayo, no...
Oh, by the time they hear this, Cinco de Mayo is over, unfortunately. So, and the wait, actually, never mind. Let me not go that far.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we will talk to you guys next week. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Peace.